Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Wednesday podcast, the Demand Channel podcast, where we show you exactly how you can reach out to your best guests and get them to book direct, because that creates the best margins. That helps you improve your revenues, improve your budget, and improve your hotel. So I'm here with veteran and third generation hotelier, Filipe Machas from Guestcentric. Hey, Philip.
Hi, John. How are you? Fine.
Thanks again for joining us. And in today's podcast, we're talking about exactly how do you build a relationship with a client, and how do you show how your products, your services help them improve their revenues. I wrote an email earlier this week, and I talked about this, and I said it was a lot like building a relationship where you catch somebody's attention with a success-focused, results-focused data points. You show them how you can increase their revenues, and then very, very slowly you bring them into a situation where they're seeing the results, they're getting excited by the results, and then they're taking bigger and better steps going forward. Now, you have a great example of doing this with hotels, and I'd love to just throw the ball over to you and hear the story about one hotel that had 79% of its business coming through the OTAs. They were very, very dependent. You worked with them and you really helped turn that around. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So first of all, I believe that's a really common situation. So an hotel being dependent at 80% of OTAs, it's common. So we are working with a group of 20 hotels just to try to understand what's the problem. And I'm going to show what we have done on this specific client, that we went from 20%, and in January 2018, they had 60% of direct bookings. Okay, so it changed from 20% to 60%. So that's a huge gain. Okay, I bet Booking.com and Expedia are kind of like looking at their data and saying, like, what's going on here? Okay, so I think that's exactly where I'm going to focus this conversation, and to see, okay, what are the points that we can work that would basically have that will. And I think it's important to say it's not like one thing that we need to do, it's multiple things. And we need to kind of
getting to know the hotel,
exactly,
right?
Exactly. So the first step that we do is that, okay, we need to look at the website of the hotel and at the social platform and try to go back to the basics and really look at the images that they use at the website, the colors, the content, and everything. Okay, make sure it's correct. Okay, it's right. There's no wrong. There's nothing wrong there. Okay, so that's the first step. I'm trying to be quick here, otherwise we cannot cover everything. The second step is to look at how do you set the OTAs, right? Because obviously, if we go and look at the OTAs, they also have a strategy. Okay, what's their strategy? Okay, that's really why they are doing so well with this specific client. Okay, so we need to understand with them, need to understand if they have special offers or specific genius rates, or specific cancellation policies that they are not correct. Okay, they are not in parity with the website. So we kind of need to make sure we go to the basics and have everything should be fine. Okay, correct. Okay,
so that was your baseline.
Baseline. Okay, so let's go and make sure the baseline is solid. Okay, so we can work on top of that baseline. Okay, once we have that baseline fixed, we can say, okay, let's try to look at Google Analytics and try to understand, okay, what type of clients do this hotel go to this hotel? They are like corporate people, leisure, pleasure. I don't know. There's so many types of different groups of people with different interests, right? So we need to come up with some ideas, okay, at the booking engine that gives value to this group of people who are looking at the booking engine. On this specific hotel, we saw that people are looking for value. They are looking to save money. They want, because it's in the city center, one of the major cities in the world, people just want to stay at the hotel and go and enjoy the city, right? Have breakfast in different places, enjoy. So it's just a nice place to stay. It's like a nice boutique hotel to stay. Okay, so value, they want price. Okay, so how can we win against price? Okay, against Booking.com and Expedia. Okay, how can we create a club at the hotel level? And these are like things that we've done. So we created a small little club at the hotel. So if people would sign up, they'll get a 10% discount. Okay, that's a great tip that you could do at your hotel right now. They also created at their website level kind of secret offers that somehow they are psychological, pushing people into, okay, this is something that's just for me, it's not available at the OTAs. Okay, and that proved to be really, really good value. Okay, so that's one of the most profitable promotion running at the website. It's like, okay, I'm giving 5% of the rack rate, of the base rate, if you book directly with us. So if the stay it's like $1,000, they'll save $50. You understand? And that's I don't know, it's a nice lunch. So, or a great breakfast, or go ahead.
Yeah, and so no, that is a nice. that makes a lot of sense. And then you said that the client was very hesitant to work with you in the beginning, but then they started seeing these results from being better in parity and having a superior offer, and then they started getting a little excited.
Exactly. So that's an interesting point there. So when we start working with the clients, they are kind of, maybe it's not afraid, but they are a little bit protective of their relationship with the OTAs, because so if you are paying, it's funny to say, so if you are paying a commission of $20,000 to an OTA a month, they are almost your partner, right? They are not your supplier, right? So so in the beginning they are a little bit afraid to change, but when they see the results just going up, okay, and we start pushing a little bit like different things, like, and I'll give you two good examples. The first one is how can you reduce cancellations on Booking.com? So I think that's a great example, because as everyone knows, Booking.com, they have around 50% of cancellations. So we decide, okay, in this hotel, from now on, we started with like, okay, let's try next month. So we tried non-refundable rates at Booking.com only, okay, and that proved to be a great. We had a great result out of that. Do you understand?
Yeah, and less operational pains, right?
Obviously, because if they have 50% of less cancellations, and also the stress, right? Because what's going on with the typical booking cancellation, they book, and then when they get really close to the cancellation date, they just cancel the room, and suddenly you are pushing all your revenue management and marketing efforts to the limit, and that's not good, obviously, for any business, right? So we created non-cancellation policies at Booking.com in the beginning, just for like a month or a week, you understand, just so they could feel a little bit more, and we would monitor those dates really careful. And then now it's all year round, so you cannot book on this hotel on Booking.com without paying full price. Okay, and I think that was a great story.
Giving the client a lot of confidence, right?
Obviously. Okay, now
they're getting control over it.
Now I control Booking.com. Okay, what can I do next? Okay, so the next phase would be, okay, how can I close Booking.com for some specific periods in time? Okay, and I think that's really, really great, because suddenly the hotel is in control. And so they are confident that they'll sell direct if needed. Okay, and so they will use the suppliers like Booking.com and Expedia when they want. And I think that should be how hotels would use OTAs, but because they are so behind in terms of strategy, in terms of technology, that sometimes they have to follow the OTAs. Okay.
Yeah. And so you said that confidence led them to close the OTA channels for a week at a time and then a month at a time. And now they're in the position of maybe closing for 6 months. Is that right?
Yeah, now we are kind of like still discussing, right? So obviously it's a big move because they still represent around 20%. I'm talking about Booking.com in this specific. They still represent 20% of their bookings, but we are very close to convince them to at least, I don't know, during peak seasons. Okay, let's close those dates. Okay, we are not there yet. That's the next move. Okay,
and I think we forgot to mention that through this whole period, you've had the strategy of replacing the traffic from the OTAs with social media traffic.
So there's a lot, not just social
channels, right?
Yeah,
traffic that they own, kind of.
At the same time, right, while you are optimizing revenue, you want to make sure your search engine optimization is right. Your focus on demand channels like social media, Instagram, YouTube. You understand? So you kind of need to somehow. You could use some of the investment, some of the savings that you in those channels. You understand? And I think one of the good things is that that would last much more time than the OTA, because the OTA will, if you stop paying the OTA in the next months, you are going to have 0 reservations.
Disappear.
Yeah.
And so that's also another point, is that with this hotel on your strategy, you didn't use any paid marketing, pay per click or anything like that.
I think that's the beauty of it, right? So if you see that your base tools like the website, social media, Instagram, Facebook, Instagram, your affiliates will provide you enough traffic so you can actually convert. Why should you pay third parties to add or to bring traffic to your website?
Right.
So no pay-per-clicks whatsoever.
These are some of the data points that you had. I know it's hard to understand it year over year, but in general, can you tell us the growth that you saw in that direct traffic?
So I'm actually looking at the back office for security or for privacy reasons. I'm not going to talk about it, but if I put like, okay, let's say January, direct bookings, January 2016, they're 22%. Okay. 2017, they had 55%. Okay. And 18, they had 61%. So they are clearly in the right direction.
Yeah.
So imagine if you do the math, right? So if you suddenly shift, and obviously it's relative. So, but let's say you shift from 20% to 50% of direct bookings, suddenly 30% of your revenue, you don't have to pay 20% out of that. So it's a huge gain. So it's all about doing the math and saying, okay, that's, I don't know, it's tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
Obviously, on a yearly, like if you look at the year data, it's like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
That's right. So I think the conclusion is that, everybody is going to say that they have the best marketing services or the best technology or whatever, but it's really those strategies or those partners that take the time to get to understand your specific distribution strategy, the challenges that maybe you've set up for yourself if you're out of parity and you're offering better prices elsewhere, and then slowly building confidence, slowly showing the ROI, and making the smart decisions that keep moving things in the right direction. Am I right?
I think you are right, and I would like to add also that I see that being an hotel manager, a general manager, it's super tough, right? Because they have to deal with everything. Like, so the plumbing is not working. I don't know, there's so many things going on the hotel, and suddenly now they have to focus on this huge specific segment, right? on this specific area. Sometimes hotels have revenue managers and e-commerce managers that kind of look at this, right? But the fact that having a third-party person who has access to a lot of data from other hotels, okay, that's totally focused, and somehow it will be rewarded by the number of direct bookings, okay? I think it really makes a difference. Do you understand? In our specific case, we charge a fixed fee, so it's not a percentage-based fee. But obviously, if we don't do a good job, the hotel would basically fire us and say, okay, you guys are not doing a good job because that the direct booking, there's no ROI. Okay, I'd rather just keep everything the way it was because I haven't seen anything. So we are always trying to come up with different ideas to bring more direct traffic to the hotel. And our idea is like, okay, once it's like 67, let's say once it's 50% of direct bookings, the hotel, in order to keep that percentage, they kind of need to keep an eye. And this is interesting because it's the way it works. Or the way we do it. It's like monthly meetings where we look at the data, we review, we analyze the data, and we adapt. Do you understand? So it's kind of like it's kind of like a game. You look at the data, we say, okay, what have we done wrong or what have we done right? How can we be better next month? So it's kind of like it builds up, okay? But you always need to keep an eye on it. And we also do A/B testing just to help us on the decision-making process, right? Because suddenly if you have like 500 people going to your website, okay, should you have the booking engine in red or in blue? You don't really know, right? So it's better if you use statistical methods to tell you, okay, the red booking engine at night produces more bookings than the yellow booking engine. Do you understand? And that's kind of like where we are trying to reach.
Right. And that's why third parties are really helpful, because a manager doesn't have all the time in the world to do that.
And the resources.
So, exactly. So it really shows that if a hotel wants to create the demand channel, wants to create the relationship with their best guests, then it starts with a relationship with somebody who can do that work for them, and to kind of see the relationship that vendor is going to nurture with them. Because it really is just like dating, right? It's just like creating friendships. It takes time. It takes time to build trust, but when it's there, the results start speaking for themselves, and it just goes up and up.
Sure, I totally agree with you. And also the fact that we are competing somehow with expedianbooking.com for direct bookings. And we are talking about the most powerful companies in the world, right? In this vertical. So Expedia, Book, do you understand? It's almost Google level, okay?
Yeah. Multi-billion-dollar level, right?
Yeah. So their technology power is huge, right? So they buy chunks of data, they control every hotel in your region. Do you understand? So they really know. So they go to a different level, right? They go and they understand the consumer behavior. Yeah. So we are competing with them, and obviously it's tough, but we need to keep an eye. We really need to keep focused on trying to understand what's their strategy, so we can go and follow. If we are not fast enough, we should go and try to fix it as soon as possible. Okay. So if you need more information, just let me know, and I have great results to show you. And obviously it's a process, and also it's important to tell that the hotel needs to be engaged in this, right? So if it's not an interesting subject for the hotel, it's very difficult to reach any good results. Do you understand?
Right. It takes two to tango.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Well, I have to cut it off. We're a little over time, but I just want to say for everybody watching, kind of going forward, following Filipe's idea, we're going to try to make this show more data focused. So we have the benefit of thousands of hotels in his system. He can look at what's going on and kind of give us these big oversights that he's seeing, which is a huge benefit for us. And if you have any questions in that regard, please make sure to shoot us those via email. What's the best email to reach you at, Philip?
Just to Filipe, so Philip at guestcentric.com. And I'm always available for any questions and ideas. And I love this topic. I'm really passionate about technology and how can we help empower the smaller independent property, even bigger, right? Because we are competing with bigger players here. So how can we give you more tools so you can actually get a better business?
Great. Well, thank you so much again for your time. Everyone, please leave a comment below, subscribe, and we will see you next Wednesday at 11:30. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks,
Bye, Chairman. Bye. Take care.